Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Cyril and today we're going to talk about my Hoya collection. So this will be a series whereas I talk about different plant families and genuses, and we'll start that off with my Hoyas. Now before we get into the planty details, we're going to talk about today's sponsor, which is Curology. So I have been trying Curology for over a month now. Yeah, a little over a month actually. And I started with their trial kit. You could also try their first 30-day trial. It is free. All you have to do is pay for shipping and handling, which is $4.95. And I'm already moving towards my second month with them. So initially, you do take a quiz or a test, whereas you are gonna identify what your skincare problems or your concerns are. And for me, it is hyperpigmentation. So I have some over here, and a little bit of here. And I think everybody would have their own different skincare problems. So you get sent a cleanser and then your own custom formula depending on what you identify on your quiz. And lastly, you finish off with your moisturizer. So I do this regimen twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening before I go to bed. So what I like about their service, because this isn't the first time that I'm trying out a dermatology provider, I would say, is their customer service. So as soon as I started using the product, I get sent information from my dermatology provider in about 3 days as soon as they come up with a custom formula for me. And that's something that's really important, because if, you know, these days when you don't really get to see your dermatologist, communication is the key. And when I receive information through email on what to expect and what are the usual question and answers that are, brought up at this stage of me trying out the product, that is really something that's important. So all you have to do if you want to try it for yourself is click the link below and let me know how this hopefully would also improve your skincare journey, just like how it did for me. And then we could, I guess, proceed with the planty details, and we'll talk about our Hoyas in a few seconds. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, like, and comment on this video which Hoya or which Hoyas, because I'm sure there's gonna be a lot, would you like to acquire, and hopefully I could still help you out on how to acquire them. I'm just probably not gonna cut up my own plant or something. So enjoy the video. Okay, so I think it will be a good idea to just show them in their natural habitat instead of me taking them down and then showing them individually. That way I would not disturb them and I could actually focus on the details. For those that are not really convenient to be, focused on, I'll hopefully take them out where they are. So let's get started on this corner where a significant amount of Hoyas actually thrive. So as you can see, this one is really close to the humidifier. This area, the only Hoya over here is my Hoya Variegata. So a lot of the plants are covering it. So this one has really nice variegation. It's actually really long already. It trails down and it blooms several times for me. At the moment, it looks like it's quite busy on putting out more leaves because the foliage looks thicker from the last time that I took a photo of it. So it's just doing well. On a grow light, they used to have like a lot of pink reaction to the grow light, similar to this one, but right now it's starting to be just green and variegated, which is good. So that's the first one, our Hoya Variegata. And beside it is my OG Hoya Polynura, or also known as Fishtail Hoya. So this one is in 100% moss. This one's in a cocoa coir, some perlite bark mixture, and the cash pot is filled with water because the roots have actually taken over. So it's the same underneath my Polynura spot. This is a closed, well, it has no drainage IKEA pot. The roots are just insane at the bottom. So this one already bloomed for me finally. I'll insert some of the videos when they're blooming and photos if I still find them to hopefully, you know, show you what they really look like in full bloom. So I'm obsessed with this splashing. That's a new stem that just sprung this spring. Well, that kind of rhymes. Moving on, over here is my Hoya Bella Louis, St. Louis Borg. I'm just gonna put the ID. It had some mites at the tip last week and I'm still rehabbing it. Probably not a good idea to have it near the other plants, but I'm constantly checking. It doesn't look cute anymore, but hopefully it'll recover because the leaves have been damaged a lot. This one's a recent acquisition, by the way. This is a Hoya Vitellinoides, which I got from Joyous Hoyas, CJ. Shout out to CJ and Shar. So this one was grown in leca, so I have leca underneath this moss, and I'll just constantly check on this. I kept the drain, so there's leca over here, or hydrotons, others, or they look like cereals. And then this one is my OG Rotundiflora, which I got from Thailand. It's just on a normal mixture, and it has really grown a lot in a span of 2 years. It was a smaller cutting, so I was able to give some cuttings to friends, but it's doing its best. This one is a bonus Hoya. I forgot the ID. I'll put it on the screen. It's still an unrooted cutting, and I'm just rooting it in water with the rest of my cuttings. At the back, let's move this leaf, is a Hoya Decay, which I got, I think, January of 2019. My friend Miguel helped me acquire this. Hasn't done much, but I'm just obsessed with the hardy leaves. Moving on, here's another Hoya Rotundiflora. This is one of the heirloom Hoyas that I got from my friend. I don't know how long she's had this, but it's currently putting out new growth, so I really love the square leaves. This one is in cocoa coir bark mixture with some horticultural charcoal. And then here we have my tiny Hoya Retusa. I'll show you the big one later when we go outside. So I lost one strand. I got this I think over a year ago, and I'm trying it out in pond in a self-watering pot. So this is lechuza pond. My Hoya friends currently use a lot of lechuza pond, and this is what's left of my friend's variegated Wayeti. It did not like me over the winter and started declining. It still doesn't look good. On this side corner, we have, okay, I'm sorry for the videography. I have to work on that. This is a Hoya Memoria, currently putting out new growth. Love the shape of the leaves. It already bloomed before. The one covering it is actually a variegated lipstick plant, which is also in bloom at the moment. On top is a Hoya. Let me squeeze in. Lacunosa, currently blooming. So this is actually this is I think a western window. There's this huge tree that kind of filters the light in the afternoon. So most of them seem to like it. Hoya cousins, briefly, this is Dischidia numularia and Dischidia pectinoides. They're ant plants. This is another pot of my friend's heirloom Hoya Polynura or Fishtail Hoya. So far, it's been a love-hate relationship with this one. Putting out new leaves, but also dropping the old ones. Hasn't bloomed for me yet, but hopefully it's gonna acclimate or something. So this one just has a cash pot in case I need to just top it up and moisten it so that the leaves wouldn't drop. I have my friend's variegated Hoya compacta or Hoya hinterrope over here, starting to put out variegated leaves again. So this I'm excited about because I always thought they were gonna be bug magnets, but so far doing good. So I think we pretty much covered the plants, or specifically the Hoyas in this room. And we're gonna move on outside because most of my Hoya collection is out there. So we are now going to move on towards this shelf where a lot of my smaller Hoyas are also based. So this is, I think, a southwestern sliding door where it gets a lot of afternoon light. So let's talk about the Hoyas. Okay, I'll start with this gigantic 6-inch pot, 3 feet long Hoya Erythrina, which is an heirloom plant from my friend. All these smaller stems are new growth this spring or summer, and it has bloomed for me several times. At the moment, it's just focusing on putting out more stems or leaves. This is in cocoa coir and in a really coarse mix. I just deep water it, I would say every 2 weeks or so, and occasionally I mist it. This one is a Hoya Matildi. It currently is trying to form some flowers, and it has some older peduncles, and it has grown a lot during spring, summer. So let me just move this Reptilis on the way. At the back, there's a Hoya Carnosa, or no, I think this is a Crimson Princess, and some of the leaves look just pure green. Hasn't bloomed for me, but I'm not mad at it. It's still alive. I'm just happy it's alive. And then on this side, there's a Hoya Compacta again. This is just a regular Compacta. This is also putting out new blooms. This is the second batch, or probably the third batch this year. So I will be inserting a video on when this was blooming. It's still in its nursery pot. I've learned that Hoyas bloom because of stress when they're root bound. So there's actually research backing that up from University of Illinois. So that's probably why, even though this was a smaller starter plant around 2 years ago, it already blooms for me constantly. This one I got on the same day, same nursery, they're on the same size of pot, hasn't bloomed yet, so I don't know, it still depends on your actual specimen. At the back, that's a Hoya Courtesy. I probably need to clean this up. And it's already, I would say, over 3 feet long. See how this extends up until the bottom shelf. So I'm sorry if you're gonna get dizzy, but yeah, this one's really easy. I just water it when it's super dry. This one is one of my newer experiments. This is my OG Hoya Lineris, and it's currently in pon with a Syngonium albovariegata. This one is looking okay. I think I will manage to make it bloom in pon. If so, it's gonna be a revelation for me because I might want to transfer my Hoyas into pon. Moving on, this is, I think, a Hoya Veggie. This is from my friend again. This summer it started putting out larger leaves that are less venated, so I'm not mad. Hasn't bloomed for me since I got it. And I now remember this plant. I think I forgot the name last time. This one is a Hoya Vietnam. Currently putting out new leaves. I think it really turns red when it's sun stressed, so I haven't been giving it enough light. At the back, this one is a Hoya Super Eskimo, I think, from Thailand. This one was a gift from my friend, this K. Hi K. This is a Hoya Matildi. It's growing. It has grown a lot actually. This one's a Hoya Australis Lisa, which is in Leca. I'll probably show you the roots because this one's fairly easy to see. Some reservoir which I need to clean up. And then this one at the back, oops, it's a jungle in here. This one's a Hoya Verticilla, Verticillata albo marginata. This one is another Crimson Princess in Leca or Hydrotons. This is a Hoya incrusata albo marginata Moon Shadow, if I remember it right. I I got that from Thailand last year. This one's a Hoya Polynura, which I have not been successful in making it bloom. And then Hoya cousins, Hoya Oboevada, Hoya Lineris, or others call it as Hoya Jerry. And then this one I'm quite proud of. It's the Hoya Serpents that my friend also gave me. It has grown so much. Some of the leaves, the newer leaves, have dropped, but that's okay. I hope this one blooms soon. Peduncles are forming. You could see the cat hair. They're gross, but that's unavoidable because I have 3 beautiful fluffy kitties at home. Here, this one's a Hoya Vitellinoides, I think. And this is a new stem that it's currently putting out. See this one? It's a new stem. This one, the Hoya Callisto Fila at the back. I would try to bring you closer. Oops. Because the leaves are really beautiful. See that tiny baby leaf? If you notice, those orchid barks, I just put them on top. Most of the soil at the bottom are still made up of regular potting soil, some perlite, horticultural charcoal to make it a coarse mix, because Hoyas are epiphytes, so they normally just thrive on top of trees with not much of organic soil or organic matter. This one's just like a catch-all Hoya pot of mostly Hoya lobies from different growers, which my friend got, and then I got to inherit all of these. I think one of the Hoya lobies are putting out a small peduncle. That's a small leaf. I just recently moved the stem. See that small yellowing leaf? It was against that metal thingy that I didn't notice, so it didn't really grow a lot. This one's a Hoya Carry. There's 2 plants inside. It's putting out new growth. I actually wanted my carry to be like leggier. This one's more compact, which I'm not really mad about. And yeah, that will be all the Hoyas in this shelf, and some of their Hoya cousins and some of the epiphytes. So they get a lot of indirect light because of the scorching bright light outside. Only the succulents and the cacti thrive. But it looks like it's also a perfect condition for them to grow in this kind of environment. So yes, here's my other pot of Hoya Vitellinoides. It has bloomed as well last year. So far it's doing nothing, or I haven't really noticed any peduncles yet. This one is my Hoya Globulosa. It's putting out a lot of new growth and bigger veiny leaves, and the undersides are actually a bit flurry. And you can see that, I don't know, it's going wild. It wants to go somewhere. I'm waiting for all these stems to harden so I could separate them and direct them. Probably this one needs a new trellis. This one is actually a Hoya rigida. The leaves are gigantic. I got it from Thailand through eBay. This one is a new leaf and they're just like all over each other. This one is a Hoya Erythrina. And these are all new leaves this season, this month. When in front, I think this is a Hoya, I forgot. I'll probably put the ID. No, this is a no, not the Lacunosa, but something I forgot. At the back, it's a Hoya Verticilla, I think, as well. Albo marginata. That one has gone wild and it's actually reaching for the public helix on the other side. And I have Hoya Collection on this side. It used to be like lighter green, but it just turned dark green. And there was a bloom or bud that I didn't get to. You know, it didn't bloom for me. And then this one's a Hoya. I forgot. The other one was, oh, this one's probably a Finlaysoni. I don't know. I'll put the ID. The public helix at the back, which is currently taking over my kitchen window skylight situation, and I'll just move to the next side. So yeah, this is a regular Carnosa. This is a tricolor, a public helix at the back. If you are following me on Instagram, I turned this into an orb thingy-majiggy, and I think I see a yellowing. At the back is another Finlaysoni. This one is from my friend, not doing much. At the back of that is a Hoya Matildi or Matildi, which is putting out a new leaf and a new stem, or I think 2 new stems, which I'm proud of. And I think finally, this is my other Hoya tower, which is a Hoya Oboevada. Several pots planted in one big 8-inch pot, and hopefully we'll acclimate to that. So this is how they're normally kept on it. I think it's bright enough, but not really the best light that they could get, but this is the best that I could provide, so they have to just bear with it, I guess. So typically what I do is I let them dry. I water these Hoyas, but the smaller pots get watered more often. I would say once a week at this heat and condition, and then the larger ones get watered in like I would say 8 to 10 days, depending if I see that the soil is still moist or the leaves are still super plump, so I wouldn't really water them. I feed them every other week now during the growing season. Most of them haven't flowered, but a good number of them flowered for me, so I'm not really collecting Hoyas for the blooms. I'm just collecting them for foliage, so whenever they have blooms, that's a reward already. And most of the time, they're really easy to care for. Even if I am a chronic overwaterer, they still survive and they still bloom even. This one, I'm just trying to keep it moist and not overwater, and it's still okay. And it rewarded me with some blooms this year, so it has gone through some tough times. Some of the leaves have damage, but the new growth are all perfect and pretty and green, so that's good. So that concludes today's video, guys. Before we go, I just want to talk about how you acquire Hoyas. For me, I tried to be a wise shopper. I started earlier, really before the craze started. Well, not really that early, but I would say earlier than, comparing to starting now. So where I usually get my Hoyas is, one, every now and then I try to bid on eBay. If it goes over 30, 40, that's gonna be above my budget, so I won't go for that. Before the pandemic, I always import from overseas, be it, well, mostly Thailand. So if you're not familiar, look into that if it's something for you. Of course, there are local US growers are as well, but with the recent demand, the prices will have doubled, if not tripled, to be honest. But there are several. I occasionally tag where I get my plants from on Instagram, so you can follow me there. It's Cybernated. And what else? In general, I would say if you are into Hoyas, their flowers are really mesmerizing. Some of them have amazing scent or fragrances, but I really like to collect those that have very unique foliage. If you notice, I like the veiny ones, those that have funny or nice, not really funny, but weird shapes, like rectangular ones with the Hoya Retundiflora, or small round ones like the Serpents or the Matildi. So they're really fun to collect, and they are very much pretty rewarding for me. I mean, people buy them for just a few nodes, like 1 or 2 nodes, and in a span of 6 months to a year, you can actually grow out a new stem with that node, and it doesn't take a lot of time to propagate them. They're quite easy. I've tried propagating them in water. I don't think I tried something that I directly stuck in soil, but I've tried leca. I've had a Lineris that I've grown for leca for like almost a year, and it actually bloomed for me. I'll try to insert a video. And then what else? I have tried to root it in sphagnum moss, and it worked for a while, but my problem is always transitioning. So do your research. If you have some questions and if I know the answers to them, I'll be happy to reply. Drop them in the comments below. Now, when it comes to like the Hoya collection, let me know which one's your favorite or which one you weren't aware of yet and you wanted to add it to your collection. Personally, I'm looking into adding more of the silver leaf Hoyas because my Hoya friends and I are talking about that. They're becoming trendy, and of course I want to get them before the prices are crazy, just like what happened with some Erythroids and philodendrons and anthurium. So if you are in the plant game, you know what I'm talking about. What else? I'm still contemplating on what collection I would talk about or show you next. Maybe we could talk about philodendrons, aroids, or if you like the epiphyte route, we could talk about Hupersias or Lycopodiums because I have a good number of collections of that as well. Or maybe you could talk about succulents and cacti. I have some outside, so which I could also talk about. So if you enjoyed this video, again, like this video, subscribe to my channel because I would really appreciate that. Comment. And again, I would like to thank Urology for sponsoring this video. Check them out, check the link that I'll be putting up below. And I don't know, just have a good day, have a nice day. I mean, these times are quite trying, so we just want to be in the middle of like, you know, knowing what to fight for, how to fight, and also trying to preserve our own sense of peace. So again, thanks guys, you have a great day. Bye-bye.